Registered voters in the Seattle area just had the chance to participate in what officials say is the country's most extensive use of mobile voting yet. Over 95% of the election's ballots were submitted electronically via app or website.
Supporters of mobile voting say if you let people cast their ballots on their phones, they're a lot more likely to do it because it'll be easier and take less time.
But some experts warn that voting on our phones creates new privacy and security problems that we don't have solutions for. Will it always be too risky for a presidential election? Or is nationwide mobile voting only a matter of time?
At the end of the day, voting software is still software. And all software is buggy. And there will always be errors and security holes. It's impossible to build perfect software.
A tech company called Democracy Live built the system that Washington voters used during the recent pilot. And while Democracy Live agrees that both software and humans can be fallible, they're confident their system is still safer than some methods currently in use.
King County, which is Washington State's most populous county, recently allowed mobile voting for over 1 million voters in a small local election. Voters could use their phones or their laptops to log on to a portal, open up a ballot, and then they could choose to submit that ballot electronically, which is what we would think of as mobile voting.
Supporters of mobile voting say that it will make the process more convenient and boost voter turnout. In King County, election officials say that turnout this year was double what it was for this election last year. Most of the roughly 6,500 ballots were submitted electronically. Only 209 were submitted by mail or drop box.
If I had to choose between submitting a paper ballot or using the app on my phone, I actually would do the paper ballot. We have a lot of experience with paper ballots over time. And so there's kind of a big field test out there that's been going on for decades. And we know that it's not easy to change a large number of paper ballots. My concern about the digital environment is that once those votes are collected in a single database, the possibility that someone could manipulate a large number of votes at once is much higher. Even more importantly is the fact that other people would potentially fear that that would happen.
Even under the best circumstances, introducing new election technology can add a new layer of doubt to results.
In Iowa's caucuses, the state Democratic Party wanted to use an app to collect and report results because they thought it would make it faster and easier. Unfortunately, based on our reporting, the app wasn't put through enough testing and there wasn't enough planning. So it ended up having glitches that have really caused problems for figuring out what the results were in Iowa.
There was a sense that maybe it just didn't work the way it was supposed to work. And just introducing that amount of doubt into the system delegitimizes people's confidence in the vote. And it doesn't, I think, give people a high level of confidence that we can manage this sort of digital layer on top of what is already a pretty emotionally fraught voting system.
Advocates are worried after what happened in Iowa that people start to be scared of using new technology for voting. Supporters of mobile voting say they focus on security, they plan in advance, and that they don't think what happened with Iowa's app should have a negative impact on their separate efforts.
Running an end-to-end test is crucial in most software development. Creating software for smartphones presents a unique challenge when it comes to testing, which is especially important when creating voting technology.
We're building it so that it can run on all the thousands of possible combinations of Android phones and iOS phones and even Microsoft phones and phones whose operating system haven't been updated in 3 or 4 years or even more. And so there's almost a limitless number of environments in which you have to prove that software can work. And it's almost impossible to test it in all those environments except in an actual election.
Still, mobile voting supporters say it's important to find ways to improve access and engage voters.
Some experts and some people who advocate for mobile voting say it's inevitable. They say that younger generations are used to doing everything on their phones and they want to meet voters where they are.
Maybe when every single car on the road is driven by a robot and a generation of people can't even imagine that a human being would have ever driven a car, we'll also be saying God, can you imagine that people used to vote on pieces of paper? I can see that coming, and I think we'll be there, but I think it's 20 years, not 10.